Please. All right, let me see. Hopefully I can hear myself this time. Checking 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's see. Let me just pull up. I'll pull up my own live. How about that? I don't know why I was muted. That's so annoying. Okay. I need Safari. Hello. Just getting situated. Safari. Yay. YouTube. Okay. Okay, I see myself. Can I hear myself? Okay, I see myself. Oh, okay. Can I hear myself? We're in business now. Okay, if you were here just a second ago, I'm so sorry. Business now. Okay, if you were here just a second ago, I'm so sorry. Let me say hello in the chat. Hello. Hi. Hello in the chat. Hello. Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. Hold on. Hi. That's because I was watching my own live. Well, your name is Cashless Kitchen, so I have a feeling that this might be a permanent problem for you. Hello, you all. Thank you for joining. I'm sorry my sound wasn't working on the first one, so I had to get off and come back on. There shouldn't be an echo now. I was watching my own live to make sure that I could hear myself. Hopefully everyone's having a great Wednesday. So we are on day 3 of Trump's presidency, and I thought it would be interesting to see what's going on, what he's doing. I talk about politics and culture, so we're going to be talking about Trump right now. Hello. Let's see, White House. Yeah, it's actually really interesting. If you go to the White House homepage right now, ouch. So I'll just go through some of the executive orders. If you go to the White House homepage right now, that's what it looks like, which I think is kind of cool. Hi, DH, how are you? Oh, there is really good news regarding North Carolina. So I went down to volunteer in North Carolina last month, December. It was in the middle of December is when I went down to volunteer. And there's a lot being done, but there's a lot that still does need to be done in North Carolina. And especially after the fire started out in California, there is, I think, fear that Colorado or North Carolina would be shoved under the rug even more. But what was amazing, I think, is Trump during his inauguration speech, he mentioned North Carolina, and he said that he's going to be going there on Friday. So Donald Trump should be visiting North Carolina on Friday, which I think is amazing. I know some people that live in North Carolina, they're very excited that he's coming. They're saying, thank you, we finally feel seen. They've been having a lot of issues there with FEMA. A lot of people are in these FEMA hotel rooms, and they've been getting kicked out. So it's been a battle for them to try and extend these hotel FEMA vouchers, but every time they do, they get extended by just a few days. So imagine not having anywhere to go, and your vouchers are extended every few days, but then what happens beyond those few days, and then beyond those few days. So I'm sure I can't even imagine how incredibly stressful that is, especially some of these people have kids that are with them too. But they have an extension on their FEMA vouchers. Some people are getting into apartments, and then Trump is visiting on Friday. He's supposed to be visiting on Friday, so we'll see. He might be going out to California too. I don't know if that's the same day, but that's really good news for the people of North Carolina, who I was really afraid that they were going to get forgotten too. And I'm trying to go back down and volunteer probably next month or the month after, because they're going to be doing builds for a really long time. Okay, so yeah, and let's see. So they're supposed to be starting their mass deportations this week. Hi, now there's sound. Yes, there's sound back. I'm sorry about that. I think it was because I had my other microphone plugged in and something happened. I don't know what happened. But they're supposed to be starting their mass deportations this week. They're only going after people that are serious threats. I heard yesterday they got around the country around 300 people, and these are people that are probably extremely dangerous, that they removed. They halted flights for refugees, which I'm not against. I'm not against refugees or anything like that. But what they said here, I'm going to read you this CNN report on why they did this. What stinks is when you open the border to so many people at the same time, all of a sudden you have to clamp down on everybody. That's a lot of coffee. Hope it's not. Oh, it's very sweet. So hold on. So I'll just read you what's going on with this. This is a CNN article. It came out 2 days ago. So flights canceled for refugees who are slated to travel to the U.S. So this is something that they're doing right now. So refugees who are slated to travel to the United States after a years-long and often cumbersome process have had their flights canceled. According to State Department memo to resettlement partners obtained by CNN. So this is all coming from CNN. The memo comes on the heels of President Donald Trump's executive order suspending refugee admissions and marks another example of the swift impact his nations are already having. The move stands to affect thousands of refugees who had flights already scheduled. All previously scheduled travel of refugees to the United States is being canceled, and no new travel bookings will be made. RSCs should not request travel for any additional refugee cases at this time. Approximately 10,000, that's a lot, approximately 10,000 refugees had travel booked, which is now canceled, according to a source familiar with the data. The cancellations could be particularly troubling for refugees whose medical exams or security checks, for example, are on the cusp of expiring. So, I mean, it really stinks for these people. And unfortunately, you know, when you have a previous administration that just opens the floodgates to everyone, this is what happens until you can get it under control. I hope Trump liberates Canada. Additionally, all refugee case processing and pre-departure activities are also suspended. RSCs and IOM should not move refugees to transit centers in anticipation of travel, and should halt all pre-departure activities for refugee cases. No new referrals should be made into the USRAP, the memo continues. Special immigrant visa holders, which includes those who worked for the U.S. abroad, are exempt. They can travel to the United States according to the memo. Those refugees who are already in the United States can also continue to receive services. Yeah, you know, that's really interesting. So let's see. I can't read your whole name. Seven Lilies, is that your name? International law states that you can't shop around for whatever country you want to go. You're required to go to the next safest country. And that is what's happening with a lot of people, especially, well, it's happening here because people are flying all the way here from other countries, but it's also happening in Europe. So what you have happening, I've been following Ireland, particularly for a while, and what you have happening there is really interesting. Obviously, it's an island, And what's happening is they're getting flights from all of these men from African and Middle Eastern countries who have already settled in the UK. But since the UK is starting to extradite people, they're flying to Ireland. So they're going from the UK to Ireland and seeking asylum in Ireland. And so that's essentially what they're doing. They're saying, okay, well, the UK is starting to kick people out, so let's go to Ireland. Which is wild. You shouldn't be able to do that anywhere. I shouldn't be able to do that. No one should be able to do that, you know? If you are a refugee, exactly what you said, you go to the first safest country, but that's not what's happening. And then you have everyone just mass migrating to certain areas, which is overloading people, now causing some people to have to cancel refugee flight. And I've never had any problems with refugees. Obviously, you want to help refugees, but you can't help everyone. And unfortunately, again, we just opened up the floodgates. Make America safe again. So here's some of his executive actions. Ending illegal immigration, or ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity, keeping Americans safe in aviation, guaranteeing the states protect against invasion, restoring the names that honor American greatness. So that's where he changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And I don't know if this is true. I don't really know how that works out legally, but I've seen people joking that the reason he changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico is because one of the things he's doing is restoring energy production back into the United States. Something that Biden did before he left office was he halted all offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico for like a certain amount of time, basically to tie Donald Trump's hands. So people were joking that Donald Trump renamed it. So because the rule is you can't drill in the Gulf of Mexico, but no one said anything about the Gulf of America. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's pretty hilarious. Oh, yuck. Hold on, I got a nasty. Let me get rid of this person. All right. I had to put someone in timeout. That was, wait, someone said, favorite internet moment of 2024, Sarah, November 6th. You guys, I just swallowed a bug. That was that's what happens when you do a live stream when you're hiking. Was that a live stream? I did swallow bugs. Well, it's protein. I mean, they're trying to get us to eat the bugs. So. Wait, what was I doing? I forgot. Watch the movie Idiocracy, direct parallel with the Trump presidency. Oh, what? I actually heard that is a really good movie. Okay, what else is going on? Hold on, let's see. What's going on today? But I am really happy for North Carolina. Oh, okay. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson saying that they're going to investigate Joe Biden's pardons.
I mean, it was shocking. It was shocking. I mean, it was shocking what President Biden did on the way out, pardoning his family for more than a decade of whatever activity, any nonviolent offenses. It was breathtaking to us. I don't think that's anything like that's ever been anticipated. And by the way, go look at the tape. 4 years ago, when it was just implied that President Trump might do something similar, they were apoplectic. Joe Biden himself, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer, roll the tape. They all said that would be crazy and unconscionable. And and now they're cheering it along.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but Joe Biden, he said that he made a point to say, and I don't know if anyone even asked him at that time, but he made a point to say that he was not going to be pardoning, what's his name? His son. Your opinion about Barron Trump becoming the 46th president? Well, I don't think he can become the 46th president now, because we're already on 47. Unless he goes back in time. Do I think he'll become the president? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't really see it. He's so young. The news came out that, where is he at? NYU, I think that's where he's going to college. And the news came out that he's going to be starting his own luxury real estate business. So I don't know, maybe, but I think he'll probably go down the real estate. Oh, should Tulsi be the next Republican candidate or Vance? I don't know. Let's see how this 4 years goes. 4 years goes. I'm really excited to see what both of them do. I could totally see it being either one. I've really come to like Tulsi Gabbard, but let's see what happens the next 4 years. I have a lot of high hopes about JD Vance, and I do have to tell you as well, it's actually really refreshing to see a story like his, a story of someone who actually came from nothing and got where he is. I think that's really inspiring and something that we're not used to seeing anymore. We're used to seeing just sort of the same. It's like the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bushes. It's just, I'm so tired of all of those families, and I just want some freshness in the White House, and that's what JD Vance brings. He also comes from very humble beginnings, so he understands probably a plight that a lot of these career politicians don't understand. A lot of them, I mean, they're like the country club class. And I get that Donald Trump is in that class, but at least he listens to the average person and he works for the average American people, which I can't say the same for Hillary. It's really interesting. I wonder if I can find it. Really, really interesting. I was watching an interview last night. It came out with Tucker Carlson and the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. And although I don't think he's perfect, he's extremely flawed, and I think he's extremely flawed in the way that he's handled the whole illegal immigration crisis in New York City. I think he could have done that a lot better. He could have come out a lot sooner and spoken out against it and against the sanctuary city. But he said to Tucker, which I think is very true, and the same thing happened with me. I used to be a lifelong Democrat, but he said to Tucker, he said, I was a Democrat, but he said, I never left the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. They used to be the party of the working class. Now the working class gets the brunt of all of their policies, which is true. They've abandoned the working class in many ways, and that's why so many people, including myself, have been forced to go to the right or to be seen as right-leaning. I never was before 2016, never. But I just saw, what happened with my family. I saw what happened with a lot of families, and it's just becoming harder and harder and harder to be a middle-class American in this country. And everything just keeps going up. And it's like, when is it going to stop? And the thing with illegal immigration, and I've never, here's the thing, most Americans are generally good people, and they generally have really good opinions of immigration. But when you abuse that system, all of a sudden you're going to get people that are like, okay, our niceness is getting taken advantage now. And all these smaller towns that are getting a large influx of people, they're seeing their wages go down, their rent prices increasing. And I find it really ironic that you have a lot of these governors of Western states, so like California, even Hawaii, but more so Nevada, more so California, Nevada, and Colorado. There was recently a summit with 3 of those governors, Nevada, Colorado, and Hawaii. They recently had a summit in December talking about how to buy federal land for cheap from the government, because in the West, they have a really big problem with the federal government owns a lot of land. So that land is not available, obviously, for purchase. And there is a land grab. They do have incentive for wanting that land. They want to build low income, like apartment units, basically. And that's what they've been looking to do. So that does, in fact, exist. Oh, but that's what the point I was making. I'm sorry, I was reading the comments. But it's really interesting. The same governors that are pro sanctuary city, pro bringing in lots of immigrants, are also the ones saying we need more affordable housing. We need to up the minimum wage. And it's like, okay, you can't have both of those things at the same time. Oh, wow, you're right. Someone said Texas, wow, 93% of Texas is privately owned. You also have a lot of people moving there. You have a lot of migration right now from just the rest of the United States, too. So, okay, let's look up California. 50% of the land in California is owned by the federal government, I believe. How much land? Okay, let's see. Wow. Okay, so in Nevada, 85.9% of the land is controlled by various federal entities. But they do have a lot of parks, don't they? Why is so much land owned? I think there's conspiracy theories about this too. Is unusable desert and mountains. Okay, I wanted to know, okay, a large portion of Nevada is owned by the federal government primarily because of its arid desert landscape, which made it unattractive for private settlement. Coupled with the historical context of the land being transferred from Mexico to the federal government via the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, leaving most of Nevada's land under federal control. When it became a state in 1864, essentially the state did not claim most of the land that was not already developed by private interests at this time. Wait, okay, let's go back to this summit. I'm putting people in timeout. Someone said, I can tell you what's going to happen in 2040s. What's with all the hate? So the way that they like advertise your lives now, you get a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't come on. So you get a lot of, with the good comes the bad. Obviously more people see your channel, but you get a lot of hate. So I'm so sorry. I need to create more moderators now with this new landscape, but I'm sorry for just ignore the hate comments. I try to put them in timeout when I see them as much as possible. The Nazi. Okay, bye-bye, Corey. Bye-bye. People have a weird obsession right now with like the N word that ends in I. I don't know what that is all about. That is the weirdest thing. Okay. Oh my goodness gracious. You're in timeout. All right. I think I got a few of them. It's like I'm like a troll whacker. So whack all the trolls out. All right, so this is what the summit was. So we're talking about these governors in Western states. They had a summit on how to obtain federal land to put affordable housing on it. With the Western United States continuing to face a shortage of affordable homes, state leaders are looking for ways to leverage one of the region's largest assets, public lands. In Las Vegas, a bipartisan coalition of governors, I don't think it was bipartisan, by the way, from across the West met this week to discuss policy ideas they say could aid their efforts and increase supply of housing. The West is unique in that the federal government has a large footprint in our area, whether it's the Bureau of Land Management or U.S. Forest Services. Colorado Governor Jared Polis said during a press conference on Monday, and so far a lot of the work that we need to do for a community planning for growth for housing, it really relies on strong federal partnership. In Nevada, where 85% actually, in Nevada, where 80% of the land is owned by the federal government, officials are utilizing a 2 decades old federal law to acquire parcels from the Bureau of Land Management for development, a fraction of the land's market value, at a fraction at the land's market value. While access to land is only a piece of the housing puzzle, in places like Clark County, that's where Las Vegas is, where we are today, available land for development is stated to run out by 2032. The Southern Nevada Public Land Management Act was passed in 1998, but the state became more aware of the provision in the last 3 years and has developed specific policy that allows us to sell lands to qualified affordable housing authorities. By selling land at a heavily discounted rate, Raby said, the agency is able to help developers undergo cost-effective housing projects that target lower-income residents, usually those making around 80% of the area's median income. Development company Ovation is one of the groups building income-based housing. So the reason I found out about this was because there was this clip of Gavin Newsom literally right after the fires, like right when they didn't even know the fire was not at all contained. People were still missing. Things are still happening. And he made an odd comment. He said that the governor, he was at a press conference right in front of a smoldering building, and Gavin Newsom was telling the news reporter that, you probably saw it was a viral clip of him, he was telling the news reporter in a giddy way that he just got a phone call from the governor of Hawaii who had some ideas on what to do with the land. And that was just a little bit odd to get a phone call from a governor of another state about the land when you don't even know the extent of the damage and the fire is not even remotely out yet. So that was a little bit weird. And something similar, this is where people get all conspiratorial. The same thing happened in Maui back over a year ago with Josh Green. He's the governor of Hawaii, the same one that called Gavin Newsom. He had a very similar clip of him that went viral where he was saying the same thing. Literally, while things were still smoldering, was talking about ways in which the state can acquire the land to build workforce housing. And people were like, excuse me? That seems a bit of an odd thing to bring up at this time, especially when all of the people that I saw in Maui or in Lahaina that had their homes damaged just wanted to rebuild on their lot what they had. They were not interested in mass affordable housing units. Water is going to be a big issue to overcome. There is actually an executive order about that. Let's see what it says. Yeah, water is a really big thing, both in California and Lahaina. And it's weird too. You also learn what a commodity water is. I had no idea what a hot commodity water is until you start looking into what's going on and how water is being diverted to other areas, or this entity is using up all of this water. It's a really big deal. Let me see if I can find this. There is something in here specifically about the water in California. Oh, here it is. So this executive order was issued on the 20th. Let's see what it says. It's called Putting People Over Fish, Stopping Radical Environmentalism to Provide Water to Southern California. California, I hear, so the thing about California, right before these fires happened, the past year before that, they had record amounts of rainfall. So their reservoirs should have been completely full, all of them. And that big one in the Pacific Palisades, it holds over 100 million, I think, gallons of water. And that one specifically was empty. That was the one, you had a few celebrities that actually lived around it that noticed it was empty and their houses burned down. So I think there's a lot of people that are going to be mad and are already talking about suing. So here's what the executive order says. It says, I hereby direct the Secretary of Commerce and the Secretary of Interior, in consultation with the heads of other departments and agencies of the United States as necessary, to immediately restart the work from my first administration by the National Marine Fisheries Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Bureau of Reclamation, and other agencies to route more water from the Sacramento-San Juan Delta to other parts of the state for use by people who desperately need reliable water supply. During my first term, the state of California, as under the direction of the governor, filed a lawsuit to stop my administration from implementing improvements to California's water infrastructure. My administration's plans would have allowed enormous amounts of water to flow from the snow melt and rainwater in rivers in Northern California to beneficial use in the Central Valley in Southern California. This catastrophic halt was allegedly in protection of the Delta smelt and other species of fish. So that's who they were protecting, this fish, the Delta smelt. And I feel like there has to be a way where you can still protect the fish, but also get water to the people so the people don't lose all their homes. And this is California. Welcome to California, where everything is just backwards. Today, this enormous water supply flows wastefully into the Pacific Ocean. So all that water that could have gone to those reservoirs from that historic rainfall, it all just went back into the ocean. The recent deadly and historically destructive wildfires in Southern California underscore why the state of California needs reliable water supply and sound vegetation management practices in order to provide water desperately needed there. Within 90 days of the date of this memorandum, the Secretary of Commerce and Secretary of Interior shall report to me regarding the progress made. So hopefully they will make progress. My stomach is growling. Cali is like another country. California is the future of super progressive America. But it's also a good warning. Okay, this is what we need to look out for. This is where we're all headed. And how many people came from California Nancy Pelosi came from California. Maxine Waters, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris is California. The good news is, I will say, if there is a silver lining, which is almost inappropriate to even say at this point, but if there is any sort of silver lining, Gavin Newsom has ruined any chance. I don't think you have to worry about Gavin Newsom being the president anymore. He just ruined all his chances, and I think he knows that, because I heard from a birdie that he was not very happy about the backlash that he's receiving from people, because it got so bad that you even have like lifelong liberals, people that never speak out against this stuff. Now they're calling out the local leadership. They're calling out Gavin Newsom. I hope I'm right too. That is a scary thought. That is a scary thought, that he could be president. And the thing about him though is he's really good. If you don't know who he is, if you don't know a lot about him, you might see him, and I know you're gonna not like that I'm saying this, but he is like a good looking guy. He looks like he would be a good politician. And unfortunately, stuff like that does matter in politics. So he does seem like someone that could get one over on Democrats and get voted in. But I think that this situation hopefully was so bad that it opened up a lot of people's eyes. I mean, so many people lost absolutely everything. And the thing about California, which is really sad, a lot of these people probably aren't going to be able to rebuild, because that land, they've owned their homes for such a long time. That land value has gone up tremendously, that I don't even know if they could, in today's market value, afford to even build back on that land that they've owned for so long, which is sad. So you might see a crisis of home ownership in that area. Wow. Someone said one homeowner added sprinkler system to his house, and that saved his home. Wow. And the thing about California too, you always have these like water conservation things where they're like, okay, don't water your lawn from this time to this time, because they're always trying to save water. Meanwhile, it's all going out into the ocean. Someone said, I can't wait to see the people from California move to Austin and up the homeless. Okay, this is what happened. They were to start all the mass deportations this week. So Tom Homan said, I didn't really see anything, but I think they're kind of going undercover and obviously getting the worst of the worst first. But Tom Homan said that, sorry, my leg's asleep. Ow. Tom Homan says, ICE arrested 308 illegal migrants, some of whom had been charged with murder and child on President Trump's first full day in office on Tuesday. Border czar Tom Homan has revealed immigration officers began arresting illegal migrants who pose threats to public safety, of which there are about 700,000 roaming the country. ICE is doing their job, Homan said. In an earlier interview with the Post, Homan emphasized that even without the help of sanctuary leaders, the feds would still wait till they get out of jail and then will go into the neighborhoods and get them. I will say, though, if they do have a charge in the other country, they should be back in that country where the charge is. But I don't know, that could be charges here, from here. All right, so there was news. I want to go into Vivek Ramaswamy for a second because he is officially out of DOGE. DOGE it's finally been confirmed. So DOGE, that's the Department of Government Efficiency. That's the new department that Elon Musk was going to head. It was going to be Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I believe, that were leading that whole thing. And then it seems as though Vivek rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, so they did not want him out. And a lot of that did have to do with his comments about the H-1B visa. So Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy obviously caused a lot of controversy when they were saying, you know, one of the main reasons that Trump got elected was because of the border and everyone that was coming in. And I think most people were under the impression we should probably put a moratorium on almost all immigration until we figure out what the heck is going on, until we can clean it up. Because you have so many people coming over that people are coming over with what they were escaping. That's also coming over because everyone's just coming. So it was kind of a shock to people after Trump got elected that both Elon and Vivek had these stances that we need to increase the H-1B visas. Well, this got a lot of pushback from the public. This got a lot of people looking into H-1B visas and seeing just how it gets misused a lot. But the thing was, Ramaswamy really doubled down and then went into basically calling American culture lazy, essentially, and saying that's why we have to bring people in because Americans are too lazy because of our culture and the way that we're raised. It's actually really funny too because I have a book of his, one of his books he wrote. It's called Nation of Victims, talking about us, which now it's like it has a whole different meaning. But yeah, it was partially because of that, and apparently he had been kind of getting on people's nerves. So this is what it says in Politico. Elon Musk already achieved his first cut at the so-called Department of Government Efficiency. His co-leader, Vivek Ramaswamy, Musk, the tech tycoon and Donald Trump confidant, made it known that he wanted Ramaswamy out of DOGE in recent days, according to 3 people familiar with Musk's preferences who, like others for this article, were granted anonymity to discuss them. An ill-received holiday rant on X by Ramaswamy about H-1B visas apparently hastened his demise. Just 69 days after Trump announced the team, Ramaswamy is now leaving DOGE and planning to announce a run for Ohio governor next week. Musk's ability to ice out Ramaswamy, who for a variety of reasons had irked some Republicans in Trump's circle, and the latest sign of his influence in the incoming administration. And in passages, an encore of all of the infighting that marked Trump's first term. See, that's the thing about Trump's first term. That's why I'm excited about his second one. I don't think he was fully prepared. And there was a lot of pushback even amongst Republicans for the things that he wanted to do. Because keep in mind, there's a lot of establishment Republicans. And I think that one of the reasons I wasn't so, one of the reasons I wasn't so hard on Trump in his first term and how quickly he got things done was just the amount of pushback he was getting, even from Republicans. And I think it was Paul Ryan, who was the Speaker of the House, who I believe never liked Donald Trump in the first place. So he had a lot of Republicans that didn't want his agenda to be seen. So I would imagine they're going to be a little bit more cutthroat about who they allow in, which I'm excited about. Vivek Ramaswamy as well. So this is interesting. If he's running for governor of Ohio, I think let me know what you think, but I feel like his H-1B visa comments might hurt his run in Ohio. Ohio is a very working class state. Ohio is also home to Springfield, Ohio, which has been in the news a lot because they got a large influx of Haitian workers, and a lot of people in Springfield are starting to feel displaced. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see if he does follow through with a run in Ohio, but I'm not sure how that's going to go. Musk's ability to ice out Ramaswamy for a variety, no, I already read that. Ramaswamy just burned through the bridges, and he finally burned Elon, said a Republican strategist close to Trump advisors. Everyone wants him out at Mar-a-Lago and out of D.C. One of the main reasons for some Republicans' frustration with Ramaswamy was a post he made on X during a discussion of H-1B visas. In late December, Ramaswamy criticized American culture, saying that tech companies hire foreign workers in part because of a mindset in the country that has venerated mediocrity over excellence. They wanted him out before the tweet, but kicked him to the curb when that came out, said one of the 3 people familiar with that departure. I had a feeling right after that tweet, it was like Vivek Ramaswamy went radio silent, just completely radio silent. In a statement, Trump transition spokesperson Anna Kelly praised Ramaswamy, saying he played a critical role in helping us create DOGE and that his plan to run for governor requires him to remain outside of DOGE based on the structure that we announced today. Ramaswamy maintained to confidants as late as Saturday evening that he was actively involved in DOGE, saying that he was at work writing executive orders. Oh, this is really interesting. So he kept saying that he was still involved with DOGE, that he was writing all these executive orders, and meanwhile he was not. Ramaswamy maintained to confidants as late as Saturday evening that he was actively involved in DOGE, saying that he was at work writing executive orders, according to 6 people who had spoken with him. But a person familiar with the arrangement said that he had done almost no DOGE-related work since early December. As recently as last week, Ramaswamy was hoping to achieve some early wins at DOGE before leaving to pursue a gubernatorial bid. Now Ramaswamy and his allies are laboring to put a positive spin in this departure, coming as Trump takes office. Ramaswamy declined to comment about perceived tensions with Musk. A person familiar with Ramaswamy's thinking said they are now on good terms and that the reality is that it just wasn't possible to run for governor and co-lead DOGE both at the same time. I don't know. I feel like this governor run is almost a way to kind of save face and be like, no, I'm leaving because I have this other thing going on. Duh. It's not because I got on people's nerves and was asked to leave. I will say those executive orders, I'm not an expert in executive orders by any means at all, but I have seen several people online who have mentioned, and they've been in this like field for a really long time, who have mentioned, several of them at this point, and they have said, you know, I'm usually extremely critical of executive orders, and most of them basically hold no water. It's just something to put out there. They said, but these are pretty solid. A lot of these are really, really good executive orders, and they've been working on them for a while now. So I think that was really good to hear, especially coming from people that are typically very critical of all executive orders. Someone said Newsom is going to resign. I hope so, but I don't know if his ego is going to let him. I have heard that there is another effort to recall him. When I lived in California, I was involved in one of those efforts. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough signatures to recall him, but there's another recall. There's been like 2 or 3 recalls that have gone on against him. Actually, the last one, they actually did kick off an election, I think a special election, but he ended up staying. People voted for him. That's the thing, like people still vote for him. But I think what happened was just, unfortunately, it was just so bad. And sometimes stuff like that needs to happen for people to wake up. The thing about California that I don't think a lot of people understand, you see these images of like the hellholes that are Los Angeles and San Francisco and Oakland, and it looks horrible, and you're like, how could anyone live there? How can anyone vote for it? Well, a lot of areas like the Pacific Palisades or some of these like beach communities or like Calabasas, you have these enclaves of areas that are really insulated from a lot of the homelessness, the crime, stuff like that. So a lot of these people, they're voting for these policies, but they haven't felt the reality of these policies yet. And like I said earlier, unfortunately with the fires, now they have. California is rigged. Yeah, people think all of California is Skid Row. Yes, that exists, and it's shocking. That exists way too much, but it's definitely not all of California. And it's very easy to live there in a safe little bubble while you're still voting for these policies. Many people do. 20-year Democrat control. The thing is, though, even if they just had like a moderate, classic, old school Democrat, I think that could help turn around the state. If they had a Democrat that was, you know, pro like law and order, pro like border, like common, if they just had a classic common sense Democrat, I think that would actually do well in California, and they might be able to help turn it around. But it's so radical. The thing is, you have all of these radical like environmentalist groups too, all of these radical activist groups, and they just have a stronghold on the government, on Gavin Newsom, and that has to stop. Buzzle, that's the word of the day. It's not Democrats versus Republicans, but us. It really is. And I think the beauty of what's happening right now, I feel it. I don't know if you guys can feel it as well. But the beauty of what is happening right now is I think most of us are realizing that. And we as a people are coming together. Hi, Kelly. And I think that a lot of people are realizing that too. It's not Democrat, Republican. It's not a race war. It's not a political war. It's not a gender war. It's not an age war. It really is a class war. And it's these people that are in charge that think that they can control everybody. And they just can't. Hi, Kelly. They can't do it. But I love all the executive orders I've seen. Let me know if there's any you don't like. I love it. I feel so optimistic. I feel like, oh my gosh, it's over. It's finally over. That's how I feel. And I'm so excited to not have to talk about people coming over our border in mass numbers and stuff like that. It could be actually like positive news. I'm so excited to have positive news. Like, I feel so inspired now. I'm like, politics are fun again. Finally. It does. It feels like the end of a night. It just felt like everything kept getting worse. I'm like, how is this going to get any worse? And what really did it in is just going down to North Carolina. What you have to understand, yeah, there's progress being made, but there's so much progress that's not being made. And I was shocked because I was there, I was there a little over a month ago. And there are certain areas that I went in. I saw someone post a video, literally standing in the same place that I was over a month ago and panning around, videoing the same things that I videoed over a month ago. And it looked exactly the same. Like nothing has changed. Not a darn thing has changed. Hi, Glenn. I heard the South stole all the North's weather. Oh, TJ, you live in Western North Carolina. How's it going there? Tell us your perspective. And did you... I heard that, we were talking about this earlier, that Trump mentioned he was going to be visiting North Carolina on Friday. Terrible. Yeah. You know what shocked me about North Carolina too? There was like, I think it was like an old auto zone, or it was an old auto body shop. And by the way, this was in Swannanoa. It's still like it is. There, it was just completely ravaged by the water. The cars that were still there, I think waiting to get work done, were still sitting in their same exact parking spots. Completely damaged. No one has even moved the cars. The rubble is so bad. And in these areas, you would think they would be roped off, or you would think they would be closed off to the public. A lot of them are not. Like if I wanted to, I obviously wouldn't because it's not safe. But some of these buildings, you can just walk right into the rubble. Like walk right into the building, walk right up to it, touch it with your hand. They've just been completely untouched. So many of these places. And they're still like that today. Oh, you live in Swannanoa. Hold on, let me show you what I got in Swannanoa. If I can find it. Well, this was Biltmore Village. And then I want to go back to North Carolina, and then I'll probably go back out to California because I lived in Los Angeles where a lot of that happened. So I'll probably go back. Sorry, I know it's dirty. Oh, come on. This is Biltmore Village, and what's crazy too is this is a very like touristy area. And look, all of it just untouched. Oh, I have the McDonald's in here. The McDonald's was actually the only place that was like gated off. Look at that. It still looks like that. Bye Kelly, thank you for joining. Does the McDonald's still look like that? Look at that sign, that's so eerie. And see, it's the only place that was gated off. I was like, am I even supposed to be here? Am I going to go to jail?
This is probably like the most eerie part.
Look.
You can see the McDonald's sign like right there, but that's what it looks like. This is Biltmore Village. It's pretty bad, but all of that. I'm just being careful because there are cops up there. I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. But this whole road, you can see some of the roads are closed off. The lights aren't working. And the eerie part.
Yeah, it's just, it was so eerie. Hold on, I'm just taking you with me for a second because I'm going to plug in. Yeah, it was very, very, very eerie. And I'll show you Swanano in a second, but it's the same thing. These buildings, they have not even been touched. And I'm sure like a lot of places are probably prioritizing homes, which is good. But what's crazy about the Biltmore Village is that is like a very... Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? What about now? It's a very touristy area. You would think that they would get that fixed very quickly. But that's just how much damage there is. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to situate you. Fake news. They had plenty of water. They just weren't prepared to eat. Okay. Okay, can you hear me now? I was muted. Hold on. What about now? Okay. I muted myself on accident. I'm just going to plug myself in so I don't have to go goodbye. my, hi Dennis. But I think I was looking at Samaritan's Purse. That's the organization in which I was volunteering with. And they're going to be going down. They were doing like tree work when I was down there. And right now they're gearing up. They're in North Carolina. They're also in Maui. And they're going to be in, okay. They're going to be in Los Angeles whenever it's safe to go there and help people rebuild. But it is cool. A lot of people have been wondering about Maui and what's going on there. And I do have good news. At least Samaritan's Purse is in Maui, and they're doing rebuilds for people. So they're building homes. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Let me know if you stop being able to hear me. But the good news is that Samaritan's Purse is in Maui. I don't know if they're in there. Let me see. But I actually signed up to go to Maui, but I got waitlisted, which is a good news. I signed up to go there for 2 weeks and help to rebuild, but I got waitlisted, which I think that's good news. So I don't know if they already started going out there or if they're planning, but they're also going to be starting a rebuild in North Carolina, I think this month or next month. And then they're going to be in Los Angeles. So I think I might go back with them, but I don't know if I have rebuilding skills. We just did tree work. But let me see if I had Swananoa. No, I can't find it. That was me with the chainsaw. I got to do some chainsawing. Yeah, try chainsawing on the side of a mountain. I know. Well, that's a good thing because that's how they have so many volunteers that work for them. And people, it's funny, you'll meet people that volunteer for them and they basically get addicted. They go like all over the country and just volunteer with disaster relief. But yeah, and this was my problem when I was trying to go down there and volunteer in North Carolina. They didn't have any slots available because I was an overnight volunteer. They have to have lodging for you, but there were so many people, they didn't have slots available. And I think that's a good problem. That means a lot of people are signing up to go down there and volunteer. Oh, here's Swananoa. Today. So a lot of people have been saying like all of this area is wiped out and all of that stuff. You can see behind me this building is donezo. It's not true. Like it's really weird. I don't know how to describe it, but if you look this way, like everything looks normal and fine. Well, this hotel is a tent. I don't know what they're doing there. But then you look this way. I'm gonna turn the camera around. Hold on. Okay, so you look this way and it looks like this. Okay, so this way everything's fine. And then this way, you see the road is closed off. That's closed. That's completely destroyed. And then you have the guys working down here. So it's really just, you see that section is closed off. And then this, so in order to go that way, you have to go around all of this. But do you see like how, that's totally fine. That's not totally fine. That's totally fine. That's not totally fine. So, yeah, that's what it's like. Now we are in Swananoa, and this is an area that was affected too, but all the way here you didn't really see much. And you have, so in Swananoa, and then right You have these girls over here, they have a sign that says free hot food, and then they have a tent going right there, so if people need free hot food, they can go get it right there. And then right here, we're still in Swananoa Valley, so that tent was right there, and there's an Ingles behind there that's closed, but you can see there's a free health clinic, and they have all these trucks out here, which is pretty cool. We're just cruising. What are we gonna see next? No subway. Okay, this is really bad where we are. I don't know if I'm supposed to be in some of these places that we're going. But look, you can just walk right up. We'll just leave. Hope. Okay. Look at this. I feel like, again, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't want to, but that's, I'm guessing, where the flooding came from back here. So this, I'm guessing, is what rose, because it's really this area. See, there's just really a giant hole there. Yeah. Bad. And you can see it just sort of, it's a little bit over here, goes all the way down here. Now where? Here it is again. This is what flooded. I'm gonna get a copyright now because of that darn song. And what was wild is that was December 12th, over a month ago, and a guy, he lives in Swananoa too, and I saw him post a very similar video of all those same businesses in that same area. Nothing has changed in a month, nothing. And the storm happened in September. It's just wild. So I hope President Trump does go there. I hope he does go there on Friday. He announced that he was, so hopefully he is. Oh, and good news too, one of my buddies. Oh, gross. Sorry, I just put someone in timeout. Uncandy was put in timeout for 24 hours. Oh, but speaking of also good news, I actually had a friend, I totally forgot about it, but Donald Trump pardoned all the January 6ers. I had a friend of mine, a really good friend, his name was Siaka. I don't even think he was actually in the building, but he had his home raided by the FBI. And he has a little daughter and a wife and has just been through absolute heck. He's a really cool guy, really nice guy, really strong guy, but you could definitely tell like that whole thing, having his home raided, really, really shook him, and he got everything dismissed. So I was really happy for him.
Rapists, some of them raped a child, some.
And then we have our most iconic picture. Don't you just love that picture? Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Biden. Have a nice day. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Love it. Love it. Oh, okay, before I go, we have to talk about this. Oh, where is she? The bishop. Did you guys see this? Hold on. Okay, hold on. So woke bishop. Okay, she was just on The View, so let's go and revisit what the bishop said in front of Trump and the family. She was just on The View. I have not even watched this clip yet, so we're gonna watch this together. Okay, so first let's watch what was said.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
I'm so scared.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not.
It's actually
criminals.
fun to go through close on your own
taxes.
time and just watch each of their
Not
faces.
They are faithful
The best is
members of
Tiffany
our
Trump.
churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
I don't think I can listen anymore. Okay, that was her. Let's see what she said on The View. So obviously, come to find, she is kind of a crazy leftist, very much so. It's a little worrisome that was in the church. Who let her lead that? I don't know. All right, so let's see. All right, so this is her on The View. Woke bishop who used a prayer service to lecture Trump over transgenderism and illegal aliens claims she did it for unity. I know, I don't understand why they invited, why would you even invite her? She's been, all these clips from her now are surfacing from the past, obviously, and she's, tunes.
So let me ask you this. You seem to have more fearlessness than anyone in Congress right now, ma'am.
So fearless.
What made you decide to use that opportunity for this message, or did you have any apprehension about it?
My response, thank you, first of all, for allowing me to be with you today. My responsibility that morning, yesterday morning, was to reflect, to pray with the nation for unity. And as I was pondering what are the foundations of unity,
Transgenderism.
I wanted to emphasize respecting the honor and dignity of every human being, basic honesty and humility.
I only watch it to make fun of it.
And then I also realized that that unity requires a certain degree of mercy and compassion and understanding. And so knowing that a lot of people, as I said, in our country right now are really scared, I wanted to take the opportunity in the context of that service for unity to say we need to treat everyone with dignity. And we need to be merciful. And I was trying to counter the narrative that is so divisive and polarizing, and in which real people are being harmed.
Okay. You know, Bishop, I was struck by your tone. You were so gentle. You were so respectful. You were very demure and very mindful. And you said,
Was that demure and mindful? Would you say that that was demure and mindful? Oh, man. This is how, but this is, individuals like her, I've noticed this is how they think. They're so just, I don't know, they're so just brainwashed by their ideology. They do think that she probably honestly does think that that was for unity, because she's just so down the leftist. I think there was another video of her where you can actually see she's a little, where is that? See if I can find it. It was her at a protest or something, and she's, oh, here she is. This is her. This is her.
This is for George Floyd, for systemic.
Why did you want to come out here and say
Their message. It is a message
That's
of
her.
a call for justice, for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for all brown and black people who have been under the knee of this country in ways that we have witnessed time and again. This is wrong. And this rising up, this spontaneous uprising of people mostly half my age or younger, they're the ones we should be listening to.
And they're angry at the
And they're
president.
so angry.
They're angry at the president. So what is your message to President Trump today?
Well, he should. I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump. We need leadership that will lead us in the ways that this country deserves.
Why did you want to come out here and say
Their message. It is a message
That's her.
of a call for justice, for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for all brown and black people who have been under the knee of this.
It's just funny that they would allow her to do that. Did they know? Did they do that on purpose? I have no idea. Anyway, all right, you all. I know. There's always, whenever you find one of those individuals, there's always a video that'll pop up somewhere that will give you more insight. All right, you all. Well, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to be live. I'll announce the next time on community notes, because that was a little bit last minute, but I'll put it on community notes the next time that I'm live. It'll probably be tomorrow at some point in time. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. Glenn, Kelly, TJ, Killer Pop, thank you. All right, I will say hi to Eva. She was here somewhere earlier. She's been outside. She got in a fight. She got in a cat fight. She got scratched in the ear. So that's healing. But there's an orange cat that hangs around, and she got in a fight. So there's that. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining. Have a really good Wednesday. Okay, bye. Bye, you guys.